Hello YouTube. This is the second part of the mantle or vault video. In the first part we created a function, and in that function there was a sequence. So the first part was about the first part of the sequence. That sequence we traced forward from our character and we checked if there's a blocking wall. And then if there is a blocking wall, if it's walkable, if it's no blocking hits or overlap, then we set our initial point and initial normal, so we can use these in the second part. So this was check for blocking wall. And in this part we're going to trace downwards from that point to check if the surface is walkable, if it's below the minimum height or maximum height or not. So we're going to use a sphere trace by channel. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to get the actor location, so the character location. We're going to use our initial point. We're going to use our initial normal. Oops. So for the actor and initial point locations, we're going to split struct bin. So just right click on them and say split struct bin. And so in this part we added 45 to our actor location. In order to compensate that, we're going to subtract 45. So just print in minus 45, or you can just make a minus float thing. And after we get that, we're going to make a vector plus vector. And in this one, so there's two vectors. You can right click on the top one and say split struct bin. And now we can put specific values. So initial point x to x, initial point y to y. And we're going to use the z value from the actor location. And for the second vector, we're going to use our initial normal. We're going to multiply this by a float, and this float is going to be the depth of the, let's say, surface. So trying to visualize this. So let's say this is minus 30. Let's, how can I do this? Okay, so when my character comes here and starts tracing forward, this is our hit normal. So it's going to be this way. That's our hit normal. And minus 30 of that normal is going to be the opposite way, 30 units the opposite way. So somewhere around here. So we're trying to get, so we don't want the character to mantle on like the edge of the surface. That's why we're going minus 30 units here, so the character can be on the surface. So I'm going to use minus 30. You can use whatever you want. If you put like a very large number, very small number, like minus 100, it's going to go all the way. So you're going to start mantling here. It's going to go all the way back somewhere around here. So you need to find the balance there. Okay, so we're going to add that into that vector plus vector node. And from here we want a separate vector plus vector, because we're going to have a start and an end node that has to be different. So we're going to start from all the way above somewhere. So you're starting you're going to start the trace from here, and then the second sequence is going to fire, and then somewhere up here it's going to start a trace. It's going to go down to check the surface. So I'm going to start it 120 units high. So that's a starting point. And the end point is this. This is the end point. So plug that into there. And that's it for the trace. For the radius, in this one I used 30, so I'm just going to use 30 again. And we're going to get the break hit results. We're going to get is walkable. And we're going to get an and boolean to combine these two. So If they're not both true, then this is not going to be true. They have to be both true in order for this to be true. So let's put a branch here. Plug that in there. And if it's false, we're going to return. And here I added another output that's a vector. So you can click on the return node. At the right side, there's outputs. Click on plus, new parameter. Here, you can add a vector called target location. Okay, so if it's false, just add a return node and make the can mantle false, so it returns false and it doesn't execute further on in the sequence. And if it is true, we need a variable here, another local variable. It's going to be the target location itself. Target location. I'm going to set my target location to be the break hit result. From the break hit result, you get the location and you plug that in there. So that's my target location, the place my character wants to be. So this was the second part. This is trace downwards for the surface. Target location. Let's organize it a little bit. Okay, so this was the second part. I hope you find it helpful.